What do I do when I am not crafting or DIYing? Most of the time you can find me in the kitchen, either cooking a meal for my family or baking something. That is also a love of mine that I have enjoyed doing for many years, and I still like to work on those skills and improve my techniques and things like that. And I always enjoy trying out new recipes and going to different restaurants and trying new foods that I have never tried before. So I definitely consider myself a foodie, which can be challenging for me because I do have to follow a gluten-free diet. But today's video, I wanted to share some recipes with you, and this meal is actually inspired by taste of the fall season, as well as things that I am currently harvesting in my garden. So I hope you enjoy this today, and I would love to know, are you a foodie as well? Thank you guys for stopping by Lavender and Lace. I'm Alicia. Welcome back to my viewers that come and see me each week. And hello, if you are new here, thank you so much for choosing to watch this video today. And today's content is a lot different than what I normally do, but it is something else that I wanted to share with you guys. So if you enjoy this type of content, please give today's video a thumbs up, and let's get into the kitchen. I have a small garden this year, and I love being able to go outside and shop my backyard produce section. I have just a few things in here, and what I wanted for this meal was this rainbow Swiss chard. I had some really good stalks of that were ready to use, so I picked just what I needed. And while I was out in the garden, I went ahead and just picked everything else that was ready. I had a few jalapenos and some squash, and I have all kinds of these little, I think they were called sun gold cherry tomatoes. So I love to be able just to pick a lot of fresh vegetables and things and have them on hand to make side dishes or entrees for our meals. And we've had a lot of zucchini this year, so I've actually been able to make several loaves of chocolate chip zucchini bread, and I keep that in the freezer, and we can just pull that out whenever we would want like a sweet treat or something, or we eat it for breakfast quite a bit too. So here is all of my produce that I had ready, and this goes into the house, and I like to wash everything first when I bring it in, and that way it's just ready whenever I need it. Those tomatoes work great to make a very easy caprese salad. Just add some mozzarella pearls to that, some olive oil and balsamic vinegar or balsamic glaze, and some fresh basil, and that is one of my favorite salads to have in the summertime. And I love to use the jalapenos to make jalapeno poppers, or sometimes if I have enough of them, I will pickle them. My husband loves the pickled jalapenos. I'm not a huge fan of those, so I do like to make the jalapeno poppers quite often. Me and the kids really enjoy those. And anytime I have these larger leafy greens like this Swiss chard or lettuce or mustard or turnip greens, I like to just run some cold water into the sink and just swish these around and just remove any dirt or bugs that may have been on those. And then I just place them out on a clean kitchen towel and just let those dry and remove any of the water, especially if I'm going to be sauteing or roasting them. And I will be roasting the Swiss chard for our meal tonight. And I'll also just place some paper towels on the top of these and just pat those dry to help remove any of that extra water. While I let my Swiss chard dry, I am working on another side dish for tonight's meal. Something that I like to do pretty often is just some roasted red potatoes, or I like to do the baby yellow potatoes as well. I just wash those really well, cut them up into smaller cubes, and add quite a bit of olive oil, salt, and pepper, and sometimes I will add Montreal steak seasoning or dried herbs, just whatever I am in the mood for, or whatever I think that will pair well with the meat that we are having. So you just mix that well, and you will roast those in the oven on about 425 for 30 to 45 minutes, just depending on how crispy you want your potatoes.
And our main dish for tonight's meal is some pork tenderloin, and these are, I think, about 2 pounds total. And I just covered those with some olive oil and salt and pepper. Very simple seasoning for these because I'm going to be making kind of a topping that will go on these. So I just coat both sides really well with the oil and the salt and pepper mix. And I do have my cast iron skillet preheating while I am seasoning my tenderloin, so it is ready to go once I get those seasoned. I love my cast iron skillets. We actually got this set when we got married, so I've had these for over 20 years now. And as long as you take good care of these and keep them seasoned, they work great for cooking. And I love just the even heat distribution that you get with this cast iron. It just sears your meats really well, and it will actually keep your food warm for quite some time once you turn off the heat. So I just seared all sides of my pork tenderloin. This did take about 6 to 7 minutes per side, and then that goes into the oven for another 15 minutes or until your meat thermometer reads 145 to 150 degrees. So while my tenderloin is roasting, I was working on the apple and onion topping that I like to go with any kind of pork. I will do this with pork chops as well. So I just peeled and sliced up 4 apples, and then I sliced 3 onions. And I like to use the sweet yellow onions for this. And of course I will be adding those to a cast iron skillet as well, and that has just a little bit of olive oil in the bottom to start the cooking process with these. And I do add just a little bit of salt and pepper to this mixture as well. And I think apples and onions, of course, are a taste of the fall season because you have all of the apples that are ripe and ready to pick in the orchards, and usually the onions are ready towards the fall as well. And I add just a little bit of water to the bottom of that skillet as well. This just helps to start steaming those apples and onions and get those soft. Now back to the Swiss chard while I have everything else cooking or roasting in the oven. I just want to cut off the stems of these into smaller pieces because I'm going to be roasting those as well. I wish these had been just a little bit bigger. I think that would have been better. The stems at least. The leaves were a really good size. It was actually the first time I had made this particular Swiss chard dish, but I was happy with the end result. It tasted really good and it was very easy to do. When I have fresh things like this in the garden, I'm always looking for new recipes and ways to use this. Of course, I don't want anything to go to waste that I have worked hard on to get to grow. So I just added all of those stems into a bowl, and then I seasoned those with some olive oil and salt and pepper. I use olive oil a lot. It's one of my favorite cooking oils. It's very good for you and healthy, so I would encourage you to try that if you haven't yet. And just for the leaves, I just cut those up into fairly, I guess, medium-sized chunks. This will go on top of those stems once they are roasted. And I only roasted those Swiss chard stems for, it was less than 5 minutes. So between 3 to 4 minutes, I guess. You don't want them to be burned or anything like that, just tender. And once my apples and onions were soft the way that I wanted them to be, I just added some barbecue sauce. And this is the Sweet Baby Ray's, the honey and hickory smoke flavor. You can use whatever barbecue sauce that you prefer. I just add that and mix it well with the apples and the onions, and just turn down the heat and let that continue to cook until my pork tenderloin is ready. And here's a quick kitchen tip for you. While everything is cooking, if I've got it at that point where I don't have to just constantly watch it, I like to clean up as I go. This was just something that I was taught when I was a kid, and I learned how to cook very young. I was helping my mom and my granny both in the kitchen with meals, and by the time I was a teenager, I was doing the all of the suppers pretty much for my mom because she worked full time. So when I would get home from school, I would just start working on our supper for the night. So I have been cooking for a very long time now, and I've learned a thing or two, I think, and hopefully I can share just a little bit of my tips and tricks with you, and you can improve your cooking skills. If you've made it this far in the video, then I have a free gift for you. You can find the printable recipe for this complete meal in the description box. That is complete with all your ingredients as well as the instructions. And I would love to know if you give this one a try, so please let me know in the comments. Supper's ready. I just sliced up that pork tenderloin and added those apples and onions to the top, and I also tossed my Swiss chard with just a little bit of feta cheese, and I also added some cranberries on mine just for some extra sweetness. Let's eat! I hope you all enjoyed this fall meal idea. If you would like to see more recipes or complete meals like this, please let me know in the comments. I really enjoy sharing this with you guys, and I hope it's something that I can continue to do. Please give today's video a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed, I hope you will consider doing so. I hope you have a blessed day, and I will see you in the next one.